Welcome back to me, I guess, but also to you guys if you're watching. So, just a quick update on, what's been done. So, yesterday I was implementing just a lot more caching for when we're hitting the, let's see, I think I also implemented, I'm pretty sure I implemented caching here too. Yeah, I did. But also implemented caching now, like on the submit, which I'm not sure if I did this yesterday or the day before, but basically always implementing caching and cache lookups before we're submitting stuff to the database. I think there's still more that can be cached. For example, if I go in here, I'm not sure if the current comment status is cached already or not. Let's see. No, it's not. So this method, for example, also I think still needs to be cached. Or I guess maybe better to do this up there. So we need to have caching here so that we avoid going to the database for this too. But yeah, then we have, let's see, so going into our post page, so we have the updating cache here, inserting if necessary. I think I talked about this yesterday already though, that was done. And then let's see, so on the post page, this is the wrong one, here. Okay, so I've changed up a lot of the internal workings of these methods. This is not very nice right now. I'm defining this in two places. So I think I probably need to have like something. I was thinking of transforming all of this Redis stuff actually into a class. Like all of these loan functions here instead into a class. Although I'm not sure if that's really what I want to be doing, because like there's not that much state to manage internally. It's more like actions that need to be taken. So the only really nice thing is that, so we can see we have it once again defined here, and actually this should be, I think, the only places, like where we're defining it, or like not necessarily here, but this should only be defined in one place, and then we should make sure to always reuse that. So I think what I'm going to, which is why I thought it would be nice to have that Redis helper class, because that way everything can be just defined as an internal attribute and can be accessed. I don't need to worry about that. So I'm still considering if I should move everything into a class or not. Again, I'm not super sure if it makes sense. I also just noticed this is actually getting really long. I need to cut this down too. But yeah, so that's something I'm considering. Otherwise, maybe I'll just have like an individual method that just gets the name, just so that that can be used instead for consistency. So that if I ever want to change the name, then everything, I won't need to change it in multiple places, but it will be just changed in one place. So those are my two options right now, and I think I will actually go with the function, also because it adds a lot of like simplicity, because otherwise I need to rewrite a bunch of stuff to transform all of it into a class. And a lot of I don't think I'll be able to cut down my code much more. I think I'll be able to cut it down a little bit more in some places, because I think there are some parts where it's like, yeah, I think this thing is used in two places. One of them is used once here for like like an iterable type, so like a tuple or a list or whatever, so that we can have like a mass insert. And then another place where it's used is for an individual creation for this. So I'm thinking like that, and I should be able to also change that up like that. But yeah, this is kind of like one of the only places where I produce it once as an iterable, and then I produce the same thing again somewhere else for just an individual element. So that's like one place where that can be changed. but I do feel like I can refactor this to just like return the key and the value, and then I can basically have the same effect here and just iterate over that function that returns the key and the value, and then that should help me cut that down too. But yeah, anyway, so that's why I think like moving to classes is not, or moving to a class is not going to provide me much, because there's also like no states that I really need to like reuse and carry over. With the only thing that I really want to have consistent is just this naming defined in one place. Yeah. Okay, so aside from that though, something that you'll see, I also added methods for serialization and compression. Basically, I'm serializing everything using Pickle and then using a snappy compression. So with this, with Pickle, I am therefore like assuming that only Python clients will be interacting with this database, which right now is obviously the case because I'm the only one using it. But obviously doing that elsewhere, maybe you have to be careful just to make sure that, you know, like no one else wants to use that cache data too. But yeah, so this way, hopefully I can get a little bit, you know, like better performance, as well as in terms of like serialization and deserialization, as well as also better memory footprint in our Redis. Again, right now it doesn't really make much of a difference because we don't have much data, but hopefully over time these little things add up, both for speed in our application, for using Pickle instead of just like a default kind of general binary serialization, and also then, you know, the little bit of compression that we're having on the database side. Yeah, so coming back to our method though, let's see, yeah, so we're serializing and compressing it, and then obviously we need like deserialization things, so we have our get components, which are always, you know, checking if the values exist, and if we do, then we can just deserialize and decompress it and return it. Otherwise, we're going to be inserting that into the database too. Yeah, this is not super nice. This doesn't look super nice, but we'll see. I mean, fortunately, it's not super long, so it's okay. But I'll see if I can think of a way to make this a bit cleaner. So yeah, let's see. There should be oh yeah. So we're always caching it too. So yeah, basically, like in short, you know, like there's just caching in different places, so that it's always like first check if it's already cached, and if it is, then get it, decompress and deserialize, and if it isn't, then get it from the database, but always be caching that too, so that we only ever go to the database once for those things. Yeah, and that's kind of like, it's been transferred to a lot of things because we needed a lot of different things cached. So yeah, it's been, let me see if I can find an example. Where is our main thing here where I'm creating? Let's see. Comment, user content. Oops. Oh, this is just the formatting one. Something I wanted. So in here somewhere, so when we're creating all this stuff, half of this is cached, like all of this is cached, but it comes from different places. So our comment order, which is also something that we have here initially, this is also something that is I've cached separately because yeah, because I'm writing the whole list at once of the whole order, and so if we have more than just like the minimal information, we'd always just be getting a lot more information that we're not using. And so I wanted to make sure that in that case, you know, I'd rather go to the database twice for those things rather than always transferring, like, and because the other data that I would be caching is going to be like